Are you tired of setting goals and maybe not achieving those goals to the level that you would like to achieve them at? Or maybe even worse yet, are you tired of setting goals maybe at the beginning of every year and not really seeing those goals through to fruition? Well, first of all, I want to let you know that you're not alone. Everybody has had at one time or another a challenge with achieving goals or following through to fully realize those goals. And I think it's up to over 80% now of New Year's resolutions that are dropped or given up on by the time February comes around. And the reason why is because there is one key element that is missing from, in my research and in my experience, it is missing from 99% of all of the goal setting ebooks, handbooks, guides, mentoring programs, productivity templates, consulting packages, you name it. 99% of all of the ones I have gone through and experienced over the last decade of my life do not incorporate this one key thing. So what I wanted to do today, after going through my own goal process downstairs, I said, I'm going to do a video and I'm going to take you through this one very simple thing that needs to be added to your existing goal setting process, and it's going to completely change the way that you look at goals, and it's going to drastically increase the amount of goals or the chances that you actually achieve that goal. As a matter of fact, with the way that this is designed for you, you can achieve any single goal if you just do this one small little change. So I have my tablet over here. I'm going to go ahead and switch over to that, and I'm going to draw it out for you so that way you can see it and clearly get it. So here we go.
Okay, so really what happens is that there's one area that's left out of your traditional goal setting, and it's at the end. And I kind of call it the RKA method. Now, I can't be accredited with coming up with this. This is something that I've learned from a lot of different other mentors and gurus in my years of taking trainings and so on and so forth. But this is kind of how I have diluted it down so that way I can use it in my life. And I'm going to go over this here. But what I want to do is I want to first go over the traditional goal setting method, right? So let's discuss that first. Your traditional goal setting method goes something like this. Everybody knows about SMART goals, right? So let's just start with that. Everybody knows about SMART goals. And I'm not going to go through this whole thing about SMART goals. If you don't know what the acronym is for SMART goals, look it up in Google. It's pretty simple. But the breakdown of any goal setting process and goal planning process really is like this. And I did a video on it yesterday. It's really just 3 steps. So essentially, you set your goal. You figure out what it is that you want your goal to be. You figure out what it is that you want your goal to be, and you set a date. Okay? You set a date, time to achieve that goal. Now, this is very important because if you don't set a date or a time for it to be achieved, well, then you could just kind of continue going on and procrastinating and delaying until you've really achieved it. So that's the first one. The next one is to put together a plan in order to achieve your goal. So you essentially, this is just a breakdown a breakdown of the steps needed to take. Okay. And then the third thing you need to do is to take action. All right. So you have your steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And so you start with step number 1, and you just plug away at that until you continue on, achieve, and then, achieve your goal. Now, that is the basic goal setting, goal planning, quote unquote, achieving process. Now, it's what happens after you take action where most people, and I would definitely say 99% of people, fail. Okay? And where the 1% are able to succeed and really achieve their goals that they set in place here. And this is what I want to talk about. So I'm going to give you a contrast here of what the difference is, and really what it is. It's the difference in how we really look and approach uh, if I could spell right, approach our steps, okay, for achieving the goal. This is where the difference is. So I'll break it down for you here. So let's say we have above here, we have the 99% of people, okay, and so we have Johnny over here, and he is. So it looks kind of he's perturbed there, right? That's the look on his face. Johnny looks a little perturbed as to what he's going to do, but this should actually be a smiley face because this is his goal and he has his steps in place, okay, to achieve his goal, his goal over here. And so he's excited, and so he begins to start to work towards achieving his goal. So he does step number 1, 2, 3, 4, and he gets halfway through the process, and then he hits a brick wall in number 5. And he just can't seem to get past step number 5. And so, he tries, maybe he tries again to get past number 5, and he just can't seem to do it, and he gets frustrated, and so then he gives up. He gives up. He comes up with excuses as to why that goal is not for him anymore, right? He's like, you know what? I tried to achieve that goal. I tried to get there, and it just didn't happen. And it wasn't for lack of taking action. And so what does he do? He gets distracted, and he starts to look at something else. Okay. And he says, well, you know what? Maybe that just wasn't the goal for me. I'm going to do something else. And he kind of feels justified in doing that because, hey, let's give him credit. He went through and he checked off number 1, number 2, and number 3, and number 4, and he actually, gave a lot of effort to achieving or breaking through step number 5, and he couldn't, and so he just gave up. And now he's off to something else. So this is how 99% of people approach goal setting and approach the steps that have to be taken in order to achieve your big goal. So now I'm going to essentially show you the contrast here with the 1% of people that achieve their goal. So again, we have, a different guy. His name is still Johnny. Okay, he's no different. He's no different than the Johnny up here, okay? I want to stress that. There's no difference between these two people. They are two people, flesh and blood. The only difference is the mindset and how they approach this. Now, Johnny number 2 has done the same thing. He's set the steps in place. And it just so happens that there are 8 steps that he has to take in order to achieve his goal over here. So Johnny number 2 goes and he knocks out number 1. He knocks out number 2. He knocks out number 3, number 4, and he gets to number 5 and he hits a roadblock. Okay? So now he's here and he's hitting a roadblock. Instead of giving up and instead of trying to beat down everything to get past number 5, the difference between Johnny number 1 and Johnny number 2 is the way that they approached this whole process to begin with. See, Johnny number 1 approached this process as this is what has to be done in order to achieve my goal. These are the steps that I need to take. Well, Johnny number 2 realizes that, hey, you know what? I've never been over here. This is where I want to go, but I've never been. I'm going to get there. But because I've never been, I really don't know if these are all of the steps that are going to get me here. I don't know if these are the steps that are what I have to put into place in order to achieve my goal. This is my best guess. Okay? This is my best guess based on research, based on planning, based on courses that I have to take, based on, mentors. This is my best guess that of the steps that I am going to have to take in order to achieve my goal. Okay? In order to achieve my goal. That's my best guess. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to gather data along the way. And so when Johnny number 2 went through this process, he said, okay, number 1, I got you. Awesome. That step I was able to attain, boom, and that just led me right into step number 2. Okay, good. This is good. I got a roll going here. Boom, number 3, number 4, but then he hit a block here at number 5. And instead of beating himself up, what he did is he took a pause. He stopped and he said, you know what? I've been gathering data here over this course of, maybe these are months, right? Over the last 5 months. And now I'm stuck. I'm in a place where I can't seem to continue on. I need to review the data. So the difference here is the way that these steps have been approached, okay? This is really important. Oh, that's not what I wanted. This is really important. It's the way that we approach the steps. Johnny number 2 is approaching these steps as a data gathering process. And when you approach things as a data gathering process, there is no failure, right? There is no failure. There is just learning. There is just education on what is working. So number 1, the difference between the people that achieve their goals and the people that do not achieve their goals is the way that they approach the whole goal action taking process. You have to gather data because remember, this is your best guess. You don't know. You've never been here before. So you have to put together your best plan and you have to put together your best efforts, but look at it as you're just gathering data along the way. Now, what do you need to do after you've gathered the data and you're stuck in number 5? Well, that's where the RKA comes in. So, like what I told you first, is that you have to review. Okay? You have to review the data. And once you sit down, let's say you've hit a brick wall or whatnot, or maybe one of the steps does seem like it's coming along, but you just kind of seem like you're taking a long way around to get there. Well, take a pause, review your data. The next thing is once you've reviewed your data, you have to know your alternatives. Okay? So you need to know your alternatives. So you review your data. Review your data. I want green here. Review your data. Know your alternatives. And once you've known your alternatives, then you have a better plan. You plot a different plan or a different path, we'll call it. This is the difference. This is the difference between the 99%. This is the difference between the 99% and the 1%. Is the 99% hits a brick wall. They try and blow up the wall. They try and bust through the wall because that is what society tells us that we have to do. If it's not working, we just have to work harder. We just have to work 40 more hours in the week in order to achieve it. We just have to beat ourselves up against the wall. That's what society is telling us. That's what all of these quote unquote success gurus and motivational gurus in your feed are telling you, that you just have to work harder. Nobody cares about your excuses. Don't give up. Well, the 1% over here, we're working smarter. We're gathering data. So they're working smarter. We're working smarter, and we're able to achieve our goals because we're able to realize that, hey, if something's not working along the process here, if something's not working, well, then we need to go back and we need to review. Go over the data that we've collected, figure out what our alternatives are, and then know our alternatives, and then plot a different path. And that, my friends, is why most people do not achieve their goals. Because after taking your goal and putting together you set your date, you set your time, you've taken your goal, and you put together your plan, you broke down the steps needed to take, and then you implemented your action. After doing that, you have to realize that you have never achieved this goal before. So the paths that you will have to take, because your life is different from other people. Your circumstances are different from other people. So you can have the best mentor in the world, but if they have never been in your shoes and tried to achieve your specific goal, they can only give you the best type of guidance. Not an exact roadmap, but the best type of suggestions and guidance how to get there. You've never been there. So this isn't the number one, gospel of steps that you're going to have to take. You have to approach this with the mindset that you are gathering data, and then you will have to review, and you will have to know your alternatives and plot a different path along the way. And then obviously you're going to need persistence, right? You're absolutely going to need some persistence. Let's write that up here. That's really important, is your persistence. Okay? Because persistence is key. Because once you start to hit a wall, you might get frustrated, and you gotta be able to persist to be able to. You have to have that persistence to be able to sit back and say, okay, let me just review my data. Let me figure out my alternatives, and then you have to have that persistence to start again. And sometimes you may have to start over from scratch.
So there you go. See, it's all about the way you approach the goal setting process. It's data collection. Most people don't set goals for things that they've achieved over and over again, right? So you've never achieved that before. It's your best guess. It's based on someone who's maybe mentoring you or a friend or what you've read online. It is your best guess as to how you should go about achieving that goal, but you don't know for sure. So when you make the approach as data collection, like I explained, you can then stop, take a beat, pause, and say, okay, well, that didn't work, but what can work? What are my alternatives? And so that's why, like for instance, Thomas Edison, he said, I did not fail 1,000 times. I just found 1,000 ways that didn't work. See, so, and I don't know if that's exactly, or I don't remember exactly if that was the exact quote, but you get the point. The point is that you only need two things. Number one, you need the right mindset. Okay, I don't know exactly the steps that are going to take that I need to take in order to get to where I want to go, but I know that this is the direction. So I'm going to go that way, and I'm going to be determined to continue on until I find the best path. So it's number one, mindset and the way that you're approaching it. Number two is you are going to need some persistence. You're going to need to be able to whenever you do hit that brick wall, or when you do meet a fork in the road, you're going to have that persistence to say, okay, you know what? I started off on this process or this journey with the intent to achieve this goal. And so it seems like this way isn't working, but I'm going to continue on and try this out. And these are the two things that I know you hear it all the time, but it's the truth. These are the two things that separate the 1% from the 99%. And you can do this. You can easily implement this into your life. And it's a very simple process. So I hope you found value in that. I wanted to share that with you here, pretty quickly. And if you like it, go ahead and give a comment, thumbs up. Leave a comment below, share it with a friend. Go ahead and follow me if you're on my Facebook, my YouTube, or on my Instagram. Go ahead and follow me, hit notifications. I share stuff like this every single week. And my new book is out. It's called The Art of Kicking Ass and Taking Names, the ultimate guide to mastering your day without burning out. And I share a lot of goal setting strategies in there as well that have worked and been very successful for me over the past few years. So go ahead and check that out. You can go ahead and sign up. And it is going to be ready actually tomorrow is the 15th is the big launch day. So go ahead and sign up so that way you can get an automatic email letting you know with the link where you can go pick it up. So, all right, that's it. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I'll talk to you later.